Stick around to the end of the video. We're doing a breakdown and a giveaway. You're not going to want to miss it.
Freestyle the news!
Say something like it might be a bad psyop. I'm not quite sure what you meant, but...
Let's go! Woo! Cancel my plans, I'm tired waving my hands. You looking for talent, I'm over watching single advance. I'm PvP like I'm battling, censor shit like you have to win. I take your spot while people stomping your crowd like I'm Charlemagne. Oh God, wave that gun around until you bottom out. You okay in the West until you bottomed out. You ever get so rich your crazy lives and then you double down, thinking out the box like you elbowing in the final round. KSI, they say he cheating like copy strikes that be falsified. Get voted out like the military against the tide. Now y'all go to Rumble where idiots try to catch a vibe. Probably going broke in a couple of years, you'll say hi to Vice. Woo! They owe their fives, someone mentioned a FBI. Now it's people that they don't like, guess they must have drank Miller Lite. Title guard but the cross down and I'm too fast to be thought out. And I serve cunt like a boss now until this bitch getting tossed out.
Calling me a white supremacist, that is like calling a person of color the N-word.
If you're comparing the badness of two words and you won't even say one of them, that's the worst word.
My switch is like 20 frames on my best invention. No lethal injection. The SCOTUS like you gon' fucking gas this dude when he says it. I'm stressed in succession like Brie answering Johnny Depp questions. So every bitch mad at a beer commercial tweets when it's trended. So much smoke for Alana Glazer 2 months after she made it. Keep that same energy. Last minute you throw a rager. Y'all so mad at bikini hating just as you saying, why is Martha Stewart wearing one on Sports Illustrated? The mayor of America fucking pardoned for cash. Assaulted his staff. Looking more sus than Taylor when she's hanging with Matt. These paparazzi are trash, claiming Jamie might die in a statement when they almost Diane and Harry and Meghan. Jamie is back.
Stay in your lane, school say nothing, the internet change. Where was the energy? Where was his weight? Precedent sacred, it's up when they say.
Ronald just stopped him and Billy. We're fighting with Disney. What's on these bills? This post looking shitty. You bitches can miss me. I'm saving my city. I'm watching your stock keep on dipping like.
Have you ever been in a situation where you're on live television and someone is asking you a reasonable question, but you somehow can't help yourself from blaming it on a psyop? Well, that's why I want to introduce you to today's sponsor, Shut the Fuck Up. Shut the Fuck Up is a revolutionary method in which you don't say anything when your stock price is in free fall. And if you order now with the promo code YES, obviously, the next 10 years of Shut the Fuck Up are absolutely free. Yes, absolutely free. That's way less than the $8 most people pay to never shut the fuck up. So order now. Woo! You better pay your staff for those half-ass laughs or they'll pay you back. You better change it fast. 30 mil a day from your state in cash. Want it off top like it's unionized. On fire like a Jeep when the engine fries. Somebody get inside a movie and you lose your mind. Tryna hire my own boss like I'm Linus, right? G7. No plane, Russia and China on everybody big brain. Kremlin getting bodied by Zelensky, Ukraine. Drones in this motherfucker, counter for another summer. Why the fuck you even jumping? Boot me to the first fatality. Fighting game summer or reality. Feinstein frailer but nobody get to have a seat. Spider-Man graded when we rack him up with tragedy. Come on y'all, get the facts straight before you hit a nurse with a bike tape. Lightweight, flipping election after a nice race. Thinking it's a joke too late till you down 2 games like, oh, too soon. Lakers in 6. Let's get it! We are actually doing things a little bit differently this week. Thank you guys so much for watching Freestyle the News. Hit that like button with the force of 1,000 suns and leave a comment on your favorite bar. And before we get into the as promised breakdown I told you about with the bars you just heard, I just want to remind you of TooSoonCrew.com. We got a brand new merch drop and a bunch of other stuff. This brand new Run It Back hoodie embroidered. It's super fucking nice, dude. Like these letters, like, my favorite hoodie. Yo, but let's get into it. So first things first, this was a week of plot twists. Like it felt like every single time you thought something was gonna happen, good, bad, weird, reality just kind of veered the other way. And let's start with Elon Musk actually stepping down. We heard a little bit about this last week. Linda Yaccarino, formerly of NBC Universal, is gonna be stepping into his role, and Elon's gonna like oversee everything until he gets to App X, which is the everything app, which I don't know if you've been listening. I don't hear anybody wanting that. And then we got that little wordplay on Overwatch. Now listen, even if you're not a gamer, if you didn't hear, it's an important story. Activision Blizzard, which is one of the biggest game companies in the world and it's beset by a lot of scandals, just canceled delivery on a huge component of one of their big flagship titles, Overwatch 2. It's a controversy because that's like the whole reason the 2 was even in there. Without it, it's very similar or just the same as the base game. So it's really disheartening and honestly devastating to their whole community and the industry because a lot of recent AAA products have been criticized as being unfinished or buggy or just problematic in general. And then we talk a little bit about the elections in Turkey, which again were affected by Twitter. Turkey has severe censorship laws in a country where that censorship is whatever's best for Erdogan to remain in power. And with that, Elon Musk complied with the Turkish government to help enact some of those censorship laws, which was widely criticized. And if you're wondering if Elon is kind of wary of that double standard, no, it's fucking no, he didn't give a shit. Because he doubled down on a lot of things in this wide-ranging interview, one of which is the PSYOP story about the Texas shooter, saying he doesn't really care if it loses money on his stocks or any of that bullshit. He's gonna do Elon, which, fucking sucks. But probably the biggest story that dropped at the beginning of this week was the John Durham report on the FBI. Basically, John Durham was a special counsel meant to investigate the special counsel that investigated Trump. It's just a fucking circus. Basically, they found that the FBI shouldn't have launched the investigation that they did in a certain way. It's kind of accused the FBI of confirmation bias, but there's no arrests made, no convictions made, yet this is the biggest smoking gun of the Democratic hoax. They're going with this all the way to the finish line. If you were one of that feeling of the 24-hour news networks of the mid-2010s, do they have a reboot for you? Then you also had Title 42 expiring, with everybody being really, really worried about the giant chaos that was going to erupt at the border, but border crossings went down. It's kind of fucking miraculous. Nobody really could tell. And of course, I gotta throw in a Legend of Zelda reference here. Tears of the Kingdom has so many fucking clips on Twitter of people making these giant... Somebody made a fucking Gundam. They made a Gundam in this game. And then something else I wanted to touch on, the Supreme Court handed down a couple of rulings this week. Section 230, they upheld it, also sided with an inmate against lethal injection, but all of these rulings kind of feel like the SCOTUS is trying to play it both ways right now. They've had the shittiest time in the press for a little bit now. I think they're starting to realize there are consequences to your image when you do what you do. I don't think they're gonna change. I don't think they've their heart's grown 3 sizes or anything like that. But I think they are a little bit more wary about how they're being seen and how they approach precedent. And a story that I think passed through the cracks a little bit was Ron DeSantis' bills. First off, Ron has been taking so many fucking L's, dude. Because of his feud with Disney, Disney pulled out of a $1 billion project in Florida. They were gonna build all this, they're gonna bring jobs, they were gonna bring new infrastructure, and now it's gone. And Ron is just doubling down on this culture war shit, making lives even harder and way more dangerous for trans and LGBTQ youth in Florida. During a week when a teacher got fucking in trouble for showing a Disney movie with a gay kid. Why? None of this is helping him in the polls. Ron is not fighting Trump. Ron is not doing good. Ron is Dylan Brooks from the three-point line or LeBron James from the three-point line. He's just not doing it. Okay, we got a couple more left. The writer's strike. California is losing about $30 million of its state economy. Every single day the writer's strike continues. World instability is on show after G7, the big, all the countries kind of meet up and just kind of talk like a fucking secret ASB club or some shit. But everybody's kind of really worried about Russia and China, especially with everything that's happened over the last decade. Spider-Man graded when we rack him up with tragedy. So the new Amazing Spider-Man run is getting a rash of shit because it's just dumping on Peter Parker. It's one of those things where they reverse all of the good things they did for him for the last year and just shit on him because, hey, this is gonna sell books, and everybody hates it. It's just not doing well. And the final thing before we get out of here is the bike story. This was a clip that circulated all around social media. It was this woman supposedly stealing a bike from these African Americans who had bought it first. City bike nurse Karen, she got doxxed. It was a whole thing with people talking about, she's screaming for help, using her whiteness to endanger these people. But actually, it turns out the woman has receipts for reserving and paying for that bike and another bike. She's filed a lawsuit on the whole thing. Her lawyers come out and said this, and then it's turned into another culture war. But anyway, those are some of the stories that happened last week. That's how I feel about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Zaid Tabani. I'm giving away one more of these hoodies if you leave a comment on your favorite bar and subscribe, and we'll be back here next week Sunday. Let's go!